guys, welcome to More Than Missionary. Before we start the show, we have a little disclaimer.
We are not licensed psychologists, therapists, life coaches, sex coaches, etc. We are literally two humans who like to talk about sex and share stories and experiences that might be relatable to you or someone you know, so we can all become more knowledgeable in the practices of safe and fun sex.
Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to our show. We are your hosts. I'm Kristina.
I'm Ashley.
And this is More Than Missionary. Today we are going to be talking about how to keep it spicy in long-term relationships.
Keep it spicy.
Keeping it spice-tastic. So I'm going to kind of take a little bit of a lead on this one just because I have been in a long-term relationship with my husband. We've been together for about 10-ish years. We don't really have a start date, so we just say 10 years. But married for how many months? How many months has it been since August? 7 months. Approaching, now we're at 7 months. So, but yeah, I don't know if you have any questions or if you have any comments about your experience with keeping it spicy as well.
Well, I mean, I watched a decently healthy relationship growing up. My parents have been together for over 30 years now.
That's long.
It is long.
That's long.
It's a long time to be with one person.
Yes.
And I definitely think it really comes down to the fact that, like, my parents still go on a date every Friday.
Oh,
every Friday night. I really attribute, like, that's how their relationship has lasted this long.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being, like, they have a lot of love for each other.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have seen that with your parents. It's very sweet.
It's cute. It's gross.
It's cute.
But what are some tips and tricks that you would give to the peeps about keeping it spicy?
Keeping it spicy. So first and foremost, I would say always communicate. Like, communication is key. You've heard me say that several times on this podcast, but it really is. Communicating what you like and don't like, right? So at this point, you're given her 10 years in, right? You and your partner have been together for a while, and you kind of, like, know each other's, like, what gets your partner going and all of that, and maybe you've been kind of in, like, a stale space, right? Some of the things that I would recommend doing for kind of keeping it spicy would be, like I said, communicate, kind of reevaluate yourself, reevaluate with your partner about your desires. Desires change, right? I've definitely gone through my own phases of, like, ooh, like, this gets me going and that gets me going, like, different things. And so being able to talk about that with your partner is, like, the most important thing. If you guys kind of have, like, that baseline of being able to talk about it, then definitely, like, being playful with each other is a big one. Doing those date nights, right? And I tend to see a lot, and I've experienced this myself, is, like, you kind of go through the motions of, like, let's say you do go on a date every week, right? But it's, like, the same date where you go to, like, the same round of restaurants, right? And then you, like, go home and you hang out and then you have sex. You know what I mean? Changing up, like, the time when you have sex, too. Like, I think having sex, like, before you go out on a date definitely will help spice things up. Because they're like, now you're famished, now you're ready to eat. Like, I don't know, sometimes, like, you go out for dinner and then you come back and you're like, wow, I'm really full, and I don't know if I want to have sex.
You're like, oh, I'm bloated, I don't know if I really want you to touch me right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm like, oh, I ate a lot of pasta. I'm really bloated. Like, yeah, not does it, like, feel super sexy to, like, want to, like, do that at the time. So changing up the time of, like, when you get frisky. I love playing games. I will play like poker. Poker is really fun to play with your partner. Like one-on-one, or like gin rummy is another really fun one. Gabe and I play Egyptian rat screw. Have you ever played that?
No.
Oh god, that's a competitive one. We both like grew up playing this game. And then it was like we met each other and we like found out we both played this game, and now it's like our usual, like we'll play that all the time, and it gets like very like loud and competitive. But like I like that competitiveness. Like
Yeah.
I like that banter.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see it as a form of foreplay.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's always welcome, I think. But yeah, we'll like play these games, like, and kind of like you can add like a strip element to it if you wanted to, like strip poker, strip gin rummy, or like maybe you're also having a drink, right? You know, we'll get a little loosey-goosey. These are for like your at-home date nights, by the way. These are, you know, but also, like keeping it spicy for long-term stuff also, like, because I think that because it can feel stale, like you just maybe like, you know, you go to the bedroom to have sex, like, you know, if you have the luxury and you don't have children around or anything like that, and you have free reign of your home, I mean, like, you know, have sex in the kitchen, living room, bedroom, whatever, who cares, wherever, it's your place. Just make sure, you know, that's not like for everybody. Not everybody has the luxury of doing that, so, you know, keep that in mind. But yeah, I would definitely say that those couple things are some tips and tricks. You know, honestly, I know this is a little controversial, and some people this might be okay with some people, and this might not be okay with others, but I think like watching porn together is really a fun way to spice it up as well, and just kind of seeing, like, watching like your partner watch something else that they like and vice versa, and like finding stuff together, that kind of opens up that whole field of exploration. Again, that's like boils down to communication, and you gotta like talk about that and make sure that you're okay with that. Not everyone's okay with that, so yeah. Those are a couple tips and tricks. Do you have any? What are your tips and tricks? Do you have anything that you like?
I mean, I think it's really hard for a relationship to go stale if you're constantly doing the little foreplay things.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean just like the intimacy stuff that we talk about on like the regular basis, like coming up behind you and giving a hug and maybe giving a little couple neck kisses, but then not actually doing anything. I feel like those little moments of foreplay that are not really even foreplay, like, it does kind of give you a little hot and bothery, but not enough to be like, okay, let's fuck right now.
It's like the long game.
Yeah.
Like, you're playing the long game. That's like, yeah, like, like, we've also talked about this, like, eye contact, right?
Yes.
Like, keeping the eye contact with your person, you know, out in public, and you're like kind of giving him the, like, you know, like the fuck me eyes, but you know, only he can tell it's the fuck me eyes and nobody else can.
So what would you say for like a couple who feels like everything is so stale at this point and it almost feels awkward communicating it or bringing it up?
Bringing it up at all, like,
yeah. Like, because you know how, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, like, where partners, they go so stale, and it's, like, it gets to that point where it's, like, well, I don't really want to say anything, they're not saying anything.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it's that comfortable level of unhappiness that they just kind of live with, because
they're just, like, fine with it. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but one of you's gotta, like, bite the bullet and fucking say something, you know? You can't just, like, you can go out of your way and just, like, take an initiative and try new things. Like, if you feel like, you know, if you're, like, scared to communicate something, I guess, I don't know, like, test the waters a little bit and see how they respond, right? Like, for instance, if you're somebody that enjoys wearing lingerie, like, that's a great first step, right? That's like a you thing. Okay, well, I want to spice things up. Buy yourself a new set of lingerie. Like, that always makes me feel better, you know? Yeah. Or, like, yeah. So, like, try, you know, I would say if you're at a point where you're very concerned and you're somebody that enjoys wearing lingerie, that would be a good first step. I would say, I guess another, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I feel like communicating, like, it's so hard for me to not think about communicating, because that's, like, really what it boils down to with it. So I think is, if you want to show some, like, nonverbal initiative, just, I don't know, you could, you know, when they're in the kitchen, maybe you, like, go up to them and just give them a kiss, and, like, I don't know, just, yeah, like, show your affection through, like, a sense of physicality if you know that they're comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be my opinion on it, on how I would go about it, but, yeah.
Now, and we've talked about this too, but I definitely think that the number one thing to keep things spicy is that, like, that intimacy.
Yeah.
Is, like,
intimacy.
the long-term intimacy, too. Of,
Yes.
like, not doing things for possible sexual gratification, but just creating those moments with that person.
Yeah, like, doing that, like, build-up stuff. Yeah. But, yeah, like, keeping constant cases of contact and intimacy is really important for that long-term relationship, and keeping a solid foundation. Kind of like, you know, you gotta, like, check your foundation once in a while and see where it's at. But yeah, definitely. I like doing stuff where, like, okay, like I might, like, send a flirty or, like, a little spicy text. Like, that's, like, a big one. That's, like, another thing. If you are nervous and you're, like, scared to communicate, maybe in person, like, yeah, like, maybe send a, like, a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge, dirty text to your significant other and see how they respond. They'll probably respond in a positive, I would hope, in a positive manner to that. So,
personal question.
Okay.
Do you ever sext?
Yeah. Of course I do. Yeah.
Send nudes?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. That stuff is fun. It's fun. It definitely keeps it fun. It keeps it light. It's, like, also keeps it lighter. Obviously, like, when you're in a long-term relationship, like, you trust your partner.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, like, I'm trusting you with something. Like, here you go. I think it's kind of funny to do it during, like, slightly inappropriate times. Like, I've seen this TikTok trend where, like, people are doing it, like, they'll, like, send a dirty text to their husband. And
when they're, like, brunch with family.
And they're on, like, brunch with family. I think, listen, it's not going to work for everybody. Yeah. I think some people would be like, yo, I'm, like, not cool with you doing that during those times. But, like, sometimes it's kind of fun watching your partner sweat a little bit over it.
Squirm a little.
Yeah, be like, yeah, that's, like, part of flirting. Like, flirt with your partner. Don't ever stop flirting with your partner. Yeah, like, I feel like, and there's, like, different forms of it, too. Like, I don't know about you, like, I feel like my partner and I, Gabe and I will, like, we, like, rag on each other all the time. We, like, enjoy, like, poking fun at each other.
Oh, my form of, like,
silly.
Flirting is definitely bullying my partner.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, and it's like you're, like, you both know that you're joking. You both know you're not serious. You're confident in yourselves to know that that's not the case. And then it just becomes fun.
Yes. And I low-key love when I get a dish back. Like,
yeah, oh yeah, like, so have you ever, like, gotten a dish back and you're like, oh, like, that was actually pretty good. Like, you're like, oh, that was good. I can't top that one.
Or when one low-key kind of hurts and you have to, like, look back at yourself like, why are you so insecure about that?
Stop being an insecure bitch.
But then it's, like, funny because you look back at it and you're like, damn, that's hilarious, though. Like,
yeah.
If you can't laugh at yourself, come on.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's, like, be able to laugh at yourself. Don't take life so seriously all the time. If you can. Try to look on the bright side.
Yeah. I don't take myself that seriously at all. I
definitely don't take myself seriously. I definitely have, like, imposter syndrome, too, with all that, where I'm like, I don't, yeah, like, I don't know if you noticed, I've always caveated things. I'm like, this is just my opinion, though. I, like, you know, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are my tips and tricks on, you know, keeping it spicy in the bedroom. For those long-term relationships like myself, and yeah, I don't know. Do you have any questions for me about it, or?
How often do you feel like, I mean, it's been like 10 years, so like how often do you feel like you get that, or how many times have you guys gone through like that staleness phase?
It ebbs and flows. I think that's normal. That was something that I had to kind of get used to, where I was like, oh, like, it's like when it ebbs and flows. Like, I think if you are somebody that tries your best to have healthy communication and to, like, don't like fret that, you know what I mean? Sometimes you might go through like a period of time where like you're both fucking busy, like, you know what I mean? And it is important to keep that intimacy, but it does ebb and flow, and there are times where it's like on all the time, and there's times where like sometimes it's not, and like it could, you know, that's part of having that like enthusiastic consent with each other, and like being able to be okay if like maybe your partner's not like, you know, they're not on in that way at the moment, you know, and that's okay. So I think I kind of like to look at relationships as like, you know, like they're waves in a lot of ways. Like you're gonna have peaks and valleys, and that also goes with, you know, your sex drive and where you're at with you and your partner, and yeah. So
do you and Gabe have like a set time of like, if we've gone sex without this long, there's...
No, not really. I mean, it's more just like, hey, it's part of that communication where it's like, if you feel that way, because it might not feel that way for each individual at different times. Like, if you are feeling neglected in that way, then let's talk about it, right? Yeah. And usually just being able to talk about it will kind of spark it back up again. Because it's like creating a form of intimacy. So I do think, though, if you are worried that you're like, oh my god, no, I do need this like all the time, like it's, you know, it's something that is a need for me, then it is also, then you have to like, you know, try to keep up that communication and intimacy and intimate touches throughout the day. And
yeah. So because I saw a thing where it said that by definition, if you have not had sex in over 6 months, you are in a sexless relationship.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I have not gone that length. I have not been at that point. If we're talking like that length of time, then like it's time for maybe some serious conversations and some therapy for the two. Like, if you're going like 6 months with like no physical intimacy, I mean, it's hard to say because, like, I don't know what everybody's personal long-term relationships are like, but I'm saying for me, I would be like, okay, like, something is up, we need to talk. That's too long. I think the longest, like, maybe a month at most.
Okay.
For me. It's like, that's what I mean by ebbing and flowing. I guess that's kind of what I thought your question was like. But if you're speaking in regards to, like, super long-term length periods of time like that, like, to me, that's a long ass time.
I could not go 6 months.
I could not go 6 months without sex. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
So then, do you guys have any? Because you said that you like that more than he does. Like, you're more sexual.
I think so. I think I'm a huge initiator for sure.
Okay. So say like you initiate and he's like exhausted, long day at the office or whatever. And is he then comfortable with like helping you in some way so that you can get off on your own? Like, do you guys...
I think it's more... I don't know. That kind of depends. I don't know if I want to answer that question.
Okay,
I think I would rather I wish Gabe was here.
Okay, so for nuance then, for something like that, do you think in relationships that should be a thing?
I don't know. Yes and no. I am big on... I think enthusiastic consent is really, really important in a relationship. Yes. And if your partner is tired and doesn't want to have sex, like, that's okay. And if you want to get yourself off and you do that and they're fine with that and they're cool, yeah, then go for it. But like, if they're like, I don't know, it's just like, it's a conversation, you know? Like, I think if maybe they're like so tired that they're like, I don't want to have anything to do with sex right now, you know, and that's okay too. So it's like, I kind of am like, well, it depends. Are they feeling so tired that they don't want to have sex that night, or is it more like, yeah, I do, but I'm really fucking exhausted? Then that's a conversation, you know. But that's kind of my thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it was just thoughts I had.
These are good questions. I have not thought of these questions, so these are thought provoking for sure.
Yeah. Well, as somebody, like I've had long-term relationships, but nothing like 10 years. So.
Yeah, I just, like I said, boils down to communication. Talk about everything with your partner, your long-term partner. I talk about almost everything with my partner. We always talk all the time, and it's I know it's, you know, it's good. It's important to do. So, and that's definitely what's been a big factor in our, like, consistent, you know, spiciness level. I will say I'm gonna give everybody else this advice right now, because I just love spicy books. Read a spicy book with your partner. Like, I honestly think that is like some of the fun, like that is a fun,
even like not even like a fiction, like you can literally read like a book about sexual positions.
Yeah, like read about the Kama Sutra. Like read about, like, there's, like use your resources, you know. There's a lot of stuff out there. Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about too? Toys. Use toys in the bedroom, guys. Oh my god, please use toys in the bedroom. That's a great way to spice up. If you like, there's so many different variations out there. Like, if there's no way that you can't spice it up by just like seeing what's out there, even like looking it up online with your partner and sitting down and like looking it up, like that's exciting as fuck. So
you know what I think, that there's nothing sexier than when somebody is wearing a day collar, and only people in like the BDSM community actually know what it is. Yes. Like those cute little dainty ones, like that are very like.
I like those like subtle things.
Yeah,
it's like only people that know. Like, if you know, you know.
Yeah, yep. I love it so much. Or even just like regular collar. Like, I don't know. I don't love like the full gaudy collars like in public, but
they're definitely like very overt.
That's more of a kink in public thing that I'm a little weird about. But like the dainty ones, like you said, like if you know, you know. Or like even like the chokers that are like slightly a little bit, but not really, like you can't really tell if it's just like a cute leather choker or if it's a collar, like you can't decide. Like, yeah, love those.
Yeah, definitely. I like those. Yeah, that's definitely a great way to spice it up. I think, something that I find interesting that's kind of cool, those like wireless remote vibrators, where you could take them out if you are comfortable doing that. That's if you're, like I said, having good conversations with your long-term partner and you guys are both into that, then taking it out for a spin and going somewhere that is I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of controversy with this, I think. But, like, if you're comfortable doing it and your partner's comfortable doing it and you're in, like, a good setting for it.
I mean, literally, you could even go for a drive and it would still feel risque.
Go for a drive. Yeah, that's a great job, Ashley. I love that one. Yeah, like, go for a car ride. And, like
dude could just be holding a little vibrator while old girl's sitting in the passenger seat being a little passenger princess.
Yeah. There's, like, ones that you can have, like, where it goes to your phone, too.
Yeah.
Definitely. Those toys are fun. Blindfolds are fun. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. You're just, like, if you're, like, if you're feeling stale in your relationship and you're, like, pretty vanilla, right? Adding just, like, blindfolds is a nice one.
Especially if you're shy. Like, if you're uncomfortable and you're nervous, like, blindfolding your partner or even being blindfolded, not having things watched onto you sometimes, too, even makes things better, because then you can't look at yourself. You can't feel self-conscious about, like, what's going on. You can just focus about being in the moment. Mm-hmm. That's really nice.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
But that's also, like, why I'm a rope bunny. Like, tie me up, blindfold me. Like, I don't want to be able to think.
I want to turn off my brain.
Please, turn it off. It's always going. It's so annoying.
You're like, I'm trying to get into a state of like blissed out numbness. Almost
Exactly.
of, like, you know.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Tie me up to the point where things start to feel going numb so that like I have to focus on something else other than what's going on in my brain.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're looking for, guys.
Yeah. If you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know. Now you know. Yeah, no, those are my tips and tricks on how to keep things spicy in long-term relationships. If you guys have any thoughts, and you have more experience than me, because I'm like, like you said, your parents have been together for 30 years. Like, that's a long time. There's people who've been together for that and longer. And I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions and feedback on this episode, and give me some advice, right? Like, I'm only 28, so what the fuck do I know?
We should bring some old married couples.
I would love to do that. Oh my god. If you guys want to be interviewed and you've been in a long-term relationship and you're like, have your own thoughts, opinions, and tips and tricks, like, oh my god, please let us know.
Okay,
I want that advice.
Dead ass, as viewers may not know, my dad used to be a DJ, like a wedding DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go with him to these DJ gigs, and I started doing my own gigs, and, we were at a wedding, and have you ever seen an anniversary dance done?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were doing the anniversary dance, and it was, like, great grandma and grandpa, like, won it. And my dad always goes to the middle of the dance floor and asks, all right, what advice do you have for the bride and groom for a long, fruitful marriage like you guys had? And he went to the husband first, and he said, great sex.
Great.
In front of everybody at the wedding.
Amazing.
I was dead. I was like, oh, great-grandpa really just did say that? Okay.
I mean, honestly, hell yeah. I hope I'm fucking into my 80s and 90s.
And then my dad put it on the woman, and he was like, do you agree? And she's like, yeah, keep it freaky. I was like,
keep it freaky.
I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh.
Keeping it freaky. Oh my god. That's amazing.
It was amazing. I loved it.
How old were you?
I was older. I want to say I was like 17.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It was great. I guess I was pretty young, but yeah.
Oh, that's
I was brought into the DJ business so young, though. I feel like you have to get used to pretty mature conversations.
Yeah, that's also true, yeah. I worked for a DJ, but it was a kids DJ, so...
Yeah,
I had a bit of a different experience.
thing.
A very different experience.
People are talking very openly about honeymoons and all that.
I'm doing like bat and bar mitzvahs.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like lead and follow dances with children.
That's funny. But yeah, word of the wise. Great sex.
Yeah, otherwise great sex. That's very important for a long, fruitful marriage. At least we hope, based on that experience. Well, guys, I'd say that kind of wraps up. That wraps up this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like you said, if you have any feedback, thoughts, comments, remarks of any sort, you can contact us on our social media pages at More Than Missionary, or you can email us at morethanmissionary69@gmail.com. That's morethanmissionary69@gmail.com. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.